This update live from the No Punt Intended Fantasy Football League News Hub, brought to you by Blockbuster. Looks like never paying that late fee finally paid off. After months and months, hour after grueling hour, minute after tedious minute, it's finally time to see if all that research during the fantasy football off-season has finally paid off. It's week 1 in the No Punt Intended Fantasy Football League. And for our first matchup of the new season, we'll get to relive one of the most exciting rivalries in league history, as the competitors from last year's championship will square off once again. Bethany Horn leads Sacks in the City as she enters her third fantasy football season as the league's highest overall scoring squad, and runner-up from the inaugural season, who seemed all but certain to capture the championship after having a lead of over 20 points over the Flying Spaghetti Monsters in Week 16 of the NFL regular season. A commendable performance considering she had gone completely winless to his noodliness the entire year leading up to that point. The playoffs were a little bit unconventional in that each round of the playoffs were 2 weeks apiece. So if the league had ended in Week 16, not only would she be the regular season queen of the scoreboard, she'd be the queen of the league. It was just not enough, however, as Sacks in the City will have yet another tall order ahead of them as they get set to take on the Beast of the East, the Flying Spaghetti Monsters. The defending Eastern Division and League champ glides his way into the first week of the new season feeling all sorts of confident, losing only 2 total matchup in last year's regular season. His noodliness will be looking to show once again that he has all the right ingredients to boil the competition into oblivion. Up next, it's a battle for the riches as Money Team gets set to take on Tebow's Before Hoes. Money Team strides into their league debut with an impressive fantasy football resume, which includes 3 league championship titles, 2 division championships, and 2 regular season highest scoring records. Money Team will look to count his stacks and make a dominating first impression in his league debut. This week he faces off against former North Texas Ghetto Wrestling World Champ Kyle Curry, team owner of Tebow's Before Hoes. A 2-year fantasy football veteran of 6 total leagues, with a win percentage of 62.5 in Yahoo Fantasy Leagues, Kyle Curry has led his squads to 1 league championship title, 2 division titles, and a Yahoo League single-game scoring record of a monstrous 317 points. But many are asking if we can truly expect a repeat performance after such a risky draft, taking both Melvin Gordon and Antonio Brown, both of which have been reportedly missing from fantasy football training camp. Reports from the league's tabloid suspect that they may have other things on their mind. Nevertheless, we'll see if Tebow's Before Hoes can keep their pimp hands strong en route to a successful Week 1 performance. Up next is a battle of pure barbaric chaos as the Constipated Leather Daddies get set to take on the Bama Boat Snacks. Constipated Leather Daddies team owner Danny Gilmore enters his No Punt Intended Fantasy Football League debut as a long-tenured 12-team league commissioner of 6 years, leading his squads to 8 league championship appearances, winning 1 title along the way, and even earning a single-game scoring record in his own right, scoring 215 points against his opponent in standard scoring format within ESPN fantasy football regulations. And with a new fall lineup soon to be released for his online store, Total Fallacy, he'll look to lube his way past the competition. Standing across from him this week on the virtual gridiron is John Hawkins, aka the Demon Barber of Fifth Fleet, team owner of the Bama Boat Snacks. The 2018 No Punt Intended Comeback Squad of the Year will look to pick up where they left off last year's late momentum as they were able to fight their way from an 0-6 start all the way to the number 4 seed of the playoffs. We'll see if the Bama Boat Snacks can muster some of that old-fashioned country boy strength that has earned them so much buzz late last season. Moving right along to our 4th matchup in Week 1, it's a battle of sophomore versus freshman as the ATLians get set to host the Chocolate Herd. The Chocolate Herd will not only be making their No Punt Intended Fantasy Football League debut, but also their very first appearance in any type of fantasy football league. Team owner Josh Brown enters his fantasy football career as a highly respected athlete in multiple sports, which include football, wrestling, and martial arts. We'll see if the Chocolate Herd can put their sports knowledge to the test in order to have what it takes to compete amongst the league's best. The ATLians will get a chance to show out in their fantasy football sophomore season as current holders of the league's highest single-game scoring record after scoring an unbelievable 205.4 points over the Bellingham Bimblases last season. It was an unfortunate turn of events for the Sifmeister, as he was just narrowly edged out of the number 4 seed of the playoffs by the aforementioned Bama Boat Snacks. But the ATLians will look to probe his rookie opponent early on in order to establish dominance in a Week 1 victory. Up next, our official game of the week. It's the Battle of the Jasons, as Wide team owner Jason LaRoche gets set to take on Jason Knoll, team owner of the IT Crew. It seemed like fate that these two teams would meet on the virtual gridiron in Week 1, as both share more than just their first names in common. Both team owners hail from the great Grayson County, Texas. Both are huge Dallas Cowboys fans. Both are active duty members in the U.S. Navy. Jason Knoll is a highly revered IT, while Jason LaRoche is an experienced database analyst. With enough Dr. Pepper in his arsenal to give an entire country diabetes 3 times over, Wide should be feeling pretty good about the upcoming season, as he enters with a bevy of fantasy football experience as a former 2-time NFL.com league champion who was able to stay within the top 3 in the No Punt Intended Fantasy Football League power rankings throughout the first half of the inaugural season. The IT Crew will be making their league debut after coming out of their fantasy football retirement, ending a layoff that has kept them off the virtual gridiron, dating all the way back to 2014. And with a track record of bugging Olive Garden servers for upwards of 3 or more Dr. Peppers at a time, we'll have to see which team's sugar crash happens first in this electric, diabetic-filled matchup. And last but certainly not least in our lineup of Week 1 matchups is a battle of people who love to bite, although for different reasons, as the Bellingham Bimblases get set to welcome Da Vinci's Earbiters into their league debut. The Bimblases entered the 2019 season as the defending Western Division champs, opening up the inaugural season with a 4-0 start to last year's regular season and fought back and forth with Sacs in the City for the league's highest regular season scoring record. But after blowing a 31.5 point lead to the queen of the scoreboard, they were sent back to the street corner they crawled from as completely shameless hoes. We'll see if the Bimblases can get back on their knees and spread their legs wide open to a victory as they get set to take on a very hard opponent this week. Da Vinci's Earbiter team owner Tom Schroeder gets set to make his league debut with an impressive fantasy football resume in his own right, as he has consistently played in a minimum of 2 to 3 leagues a year, with an average of 12 teams every year for over 5 years. Now, prior to last season, his squads made an appearance in at least 1 league championship every year for 4 years straight, racking up 6 league championships along the way. We'll see if Da Vinci's Earbiters can gnaw through the Bimblases' lineup extremities en route to a successful league debut. That's it for your updates from the No Punt Intended Fantasy Football League News Hub. Be sure to check your lineups ahead of Sunday's games, and we will see you on the virtual gridiron.